Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are we doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Sorry for not uploading for about a month now, but I've had some things. I've had some IRL things to deal with. Okay, and some YouTube things. I've got some strikes by someone just went through my videos and just struck this, struck that, and so on. You know what the left are like. So I am back now to regular uploading. Okay, so what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you this excellent interview that Elon Musk did with a BBC woke journalist, and I'm showing you may have seen it. If you haven't, this is excellent, yeah, because it just shows you the insidiousness of the left, right? How they manipulate everything, how they don't come at anything with good faith. Everything's in bad faith, yeah. This is a 4-minute section of the interview. It went on for longer, of course. They covered many topics, but this is the part where Elon Musk, he just really owns this guy, yeah. Or to put it a better way, he gives this BBC journalist enough rope to own himself, yeah. Remember, it's the British taxpayer that pays for these people, and like, I'm working class, right? As we're about to watch the video, when the BBC guy talks, yeah, he's got that upper class, smug, leftist accent that, to a working class person, I can assure you, it's like a wire brush up your spine. It's just that accent, that smugness. It's like, I'm better than you, is essentially what they say. It's essentially what they feel. Okay, look, let's get into this video. If you haven't yet though, please like the video, subscribe to the Hoggcast, hit the notification bell, and share the video around. Okay, let's go.
Used to be in content moderation, and we've spoken to people very recently who were involved in moderation, and they just say there's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company. Is that something that you want to address?
Talking about? I mean, you use Twitter,
right?
So the journalist is trying to use the classic leftist tactics of guilt tripping and manipulation to quote police speech he doesn't like, or what he calls hate speech. Yeah, hate speech is, as you know, is just, to the left, is just anything that they disagree with, right? And you notice how he uses the word police. If you notice how these so-called liberals are always about cracking down on this, that, and the other, yeah, and the things that they want to crack down on are always good things, like pure things, wholesome things.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
but just a personal anecdote, like what do you do? I don't.
Personally, for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content, yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
You see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
So what Elon's trying to get him here to do is to do the one thing that leftists never do. We're trying to get to specifics. Give me a specific example. What's happened? The left will never do that, right? Because they need the goalposts to be wide open, yeah? So they can be easily picked up and moved, like. So basically the goal is the goal is so wide that it's not difficult for them to kick something through the net, yeah. That's why they keep it purposefully vague. That's why they keep it as vague as they do.
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that...
Content that will elicit a reaction. Do you see what I mean? What does that mean? Like, quantify it.
Is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
I'm not saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm
just curious. I'm trying to...
You're not saying anything because you're saying something without saying it. That's what you're doing. Have you noticed how evasive these people are?
That's how we mean by hateful content. And I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I don't.
You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because
So if you don't use it, how would you know that it's there. Do you see what I mean? It's going around in a loop. These people are so dishonest, and the worst thing is that idiot's taxpayer funded through the license fee. Do you understand what I mean? So there's single mothers out there who are struggling, especially with the cost of living crisis at the moment, and they have to pay over £150 a year to that smug leftist. Yeah.
Because I just don't particularly like it. And actually, a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at my following.
You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and
how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using it. I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen the for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
You can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
Yeah, but do you see what I mean about that accent, that upper middle class kind of? I'm so good. I'm better than everyone else. Man, I just can't stand it.
I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed.
Lied.
No. What I claimed was there are many organisations that say.
You never said that. That's not what you said. Now you see why they keep the goalposts wide open. Now he's going back and he's trying to move the goalposts.
That kind of information is on the rise now. Whether it has on my feed or not. I mean, right, and you look at something like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK. They will say that. So,
but who cares what they say? They're just a leftist organisation like you. People are sick of having their reality dictated to them by people with accents like that. Smug upper middle class. I'm better. I know best. The Strategic Institute of Bullshit in Uzbekistan said that you're an ism or an ist, so you have to go.
Because people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I've already said, I don't use that feed. But
how do you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
Yes, I don't think this is getting anywhere. Yeah, because you're being called out on your bullshit, mate, and you don't like it.
Said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful?
I haven't actually looked at that feed. God, I just hate it. I really do.
Content.
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time. COVID misinformation. You changed the COVID misinformation.
Has BBC changed its COVID misinformation?
These aren't journalists. They're not, are they? They're activists. And the mask has slipped so much now. It really has. This isn't journalism.
The BBC does not set the rules on Twitter, so I'm asking you.
No, I'm talking about the BBC's misinformation about COVID.
I'm completely silent because he hasn't. Because he wants to be the one doing this to you. Yeah, that's the left all over. They want to do this to you.
I'm literally asking you about. You changed the labels, the COVID misinformation labels. There used to be a policy, it then disappeared. Why do that?
Well, COVID is no longer an issue. Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations?
Right.
And not reporting on that at all? And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
Oh, so. You thought it wasn't?
I see now.
So evasive. And the thing is, these leftists, they will go away from this thinking that was good for the left. This is what we don't have a shared reality anymore. There are so many differences, like fundamental differences between left-wing and right-wing people, and they're becoming more stark as the years go by. One of them, there's many, it's beyond the scope of this video for me to go over all of them, but one that is related to what we've just covered is that left-wing people are extremely susceptible to manipulation, to the point where they don't know that they're being manipulated. Like, for example, during the coup when the nurses were doing TikTok dance routines in empty hospitals, whilst the likes of this guy was telling us the hospitals were full with children coughing up their own lungs and blood, and that never happened. It's just it just takes my breath away. The manipulation. They had people banging pots and pans together. If you're one of my American or Canadian viewers or anywhere outside of the UK, they had people banging pots and pans together, and it's just, I feel numb. I don't know how to describe it when I see people that are being manipulated in such a bizarre way.
Why you've done Twitter Spaces. I am not a representative of the BBC's editorial policy. I want to make that clear. Let's talk about something else. You want to talk about the BBC? All right, let's talk about something else.
You weren't expecting that.
Let's talk.
The interview went on for some time, but I wanted to show you this. But you can find the full one. There's loads of it on Twitter, but I showed you this because it just shows you the way it's the underhandedness of the left. If you go on Twitter, you engage in the culture war stuff on Twitter. If you are not a leftist, you must know. You must have seen it. The underhandedness, the manipulation. Yeah, and I just see it here. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section below. I will be uploading again on a regular basis now. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.